If you're a first-time author, I want you to watch this video because there are 4 mistakes that many first-time authors make that I want you to avoid. My name is Kelly Notaras. I'm the founder of KN Literary Arts. We are a one-stop shop book studio helping you get from wherever you are to having a book in your hand. So visit us at knliterary.com. And I bring all of my 20 plus years of wisdom being a book editor in the US market right here to this YouTube channel. So please click subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you never miss a video. All right, so I am so excited to dive into the question of what these 4 big mistakes are that I see authors make because I want you to avoid them. The first one is that authors think they should just be able to sit down and write their book. Like there's no craft to be learned. But the fact of the matter is, most of us, while we've read a lot of books, haven't actually written a lot of books. And we hold ourselves up to these standards that are actually beyond what we should be expecting of ourselves, thinking that if we can't sit down and just let the creative juices flow and suddenly have chapter 1 written, that there's something wrong with us. I want you to know that is not the case. Every new author struggles to understand how to craft an outline to put the book together, how to decide which book to write first, how to know what to include in the first chapter, and how to really just get started every day when they sit down. So the first mistake is thinking that you should be better at this than you are. You're new, give yourself the right to learn. Give yourself the right to try, and give yourself the right to fail and learn from your mistakes and try again. Okay, second tip actually follows from the first one, which is that so many first-time authors don't start with an outline. And I know you learned how to write an outline in 9th grade English class. I know you did. I know I did. And maybe it's because you have bad memories of that time that you don't want to do it again today. But again, I hear so many authors tell me, oh, I don't want to start with an outline. I think it would cramp my creative style. But the fact is they aren't writing their book. So please, if it's not working for you to sort of free form and sit down and let the creative muse take you away, please consider putting together an outline because then you will know every day exactly what you should be writing that day because you'll have the book content broken out by chapters and then by subheadings underneath the chapters. You can click the link below to get our outline templates, which I've heard from so many authors really make the difference. They know once they look at these outline templates that they really can write a book. So be sure to download those. Mistake number 3, so many authors I talk to don't want to read their competition. And I understand nobody wants to, accidentally plagiarize someone, but more likely than not, they're not reading it because they feel intimidated. They're worried that they're going to read these books that have already been published and they're going to feel like, oh my gosh, my book's already been written, shoot, I don't, no one needs to hear from me, or I could never write something that good, or I don't have ideas like that, or my story isn't that exciting, right? At the same time, if you don't read the books that are going to be sitting on either side of your book on the bookshelf, you're not going to know what the readers are expecting from your book. And paying attention to your readers is your number 1 job. I know you want to be creative and that's great. And creative expression is actually a good enough reason to write a book, but it usually doesn't write a book that's going to sell a lot of copies. If you want your wisdom or story to get out there and be widely read and be passed hand to hand, which is how book sales happen through word of mouth sales, then you have to be thinking about what the reader expects, what's working for them already, what books are they already buying and excited about. You need to become an expert on your bookshelf. And if you're worried about accidentally plagiarizing, here is my suggestion. Read so many books that you could never be plagiarizing just one of them because you've read so deeply into your bookshelf that you know everything that's there and you're never going to be relying too heavily on any one influence. All right? Okay, so read your competition. And number 4, this is one that really only applies to nonfiction writers. So if you're writing self-help, personal growth, history, a cookbook, your own story, a memoir, this applies to you. Too often I find that my authors are trying to work out their content, their message, what they want to say, the method that they want to teach in book form. I mean, I guess it makes sense because so many of us encounter an author's philosophy or teaching in their book, but the fact is almost all of those authors have been working that philosophy or methodology or story out well in advance of putting it into a book. And if it's something that they're teaching that, it's a book that people are going to learn from, they have been teaching that content either through their career. Like for me, with my book, The Book You Were Born to Write, I was working with authors every single day. My methodology was down pat. I had no questions when I sat down to write my outline for my book because I've been teaching this. I knew what my readers needed from me. If you don't know what your ideal reader needs from you, I want you to go out there and find them. And I want you to teach them the content that you're planning to put in your book and see what they have to say. They will teach you what's working, what's not working, what you need more of, what you need less of. They will give you information that you would otherwise have to pay a lot of money to get from an editor. Go out there, do a beta group, send an email to your friends and family and say, who would like to come to a 4-week class that I'm teaching, and then teach 2 chapters worth of content at each class. If you're writing your own story, start putting pieces of it out there on the web. It is no problem if you've published it on your blog or on Instagram or any other medium, out there, even medium.com, for example. You can publish that on the web and then very easily republish it in your book. It is no problem for self-publishing, and it is no problem for working with a traditional publisher. In fact, a traditional publisher is going to want to see that you have been doing the work to connect with your audience, to learn from them, to get them excited about your work. They want to see that you're communicating with people on the regular so that they can be a little more sure your book will sell when the time comes. So that mistake, again, I want you to avoid it. Don't work out your content for the first time in writing your book. Go out there and work it out with real people, and I promise you, you will get a lot more readers because of it. All right, so those are just 4 of the mistakes that I see. And frankly, there are a lot of mistakes, and it's because it's a big learning curve. If you want to know everything that I've learned in my 20 plus years working in the book publishing business, I've put almost all of it into my book, The Book You Were Born to Write, everything you need to finally get your wisdom onto the page and into the world. I highly recommend it. I wrote it just for you. I wanted to make sure you got all of the wisdom I went into the book publishing business to get, all in one place for a low price. So please check it out. You can find it wherever books are sold. And of course, we always want to check you out. Come to knliterary.com, schedule a call, talk to one of our editorial matchmakers. We love talking about books. All right, with that, I leave you, and I hope that you have a wonderful week and you have wonderful writing.